It doesn't cost a lot of money, but it costs some money. It's not that expensive to keep this show on. So please, if you can, donate, ask your friends to subscribe, and keep this provocative show on. Right now, we're going to be talking about people in politics. John Tory, former lawyer, well, he's still a lawyer, and a politician, and a businessman. And I hear it all the time that governments in the past, people would have their careers, they'd made their money, they would then go into politics to do good. And they ran businesses, and they ran departments, and they did impact government. Now I'm hearing from people that say, I'd like to do something good in public life, but I don't want to go through that gamut of media.
You know, in days gone by, if you go back to the 50s, but even as recently as, say, the 90s, it was seen as a privilege to serve. It was seen as an honor to have these jobs as a cabinet minister, say, for example, or even as an MP. And now I don't think people look at it that way anymore. People have accomplishments, sort of say, well, look, I know I can make a difference. I have people I know who want to make a difference, who care deeply about 2 or 3 issues, and they sort of get right up to the point of saying, well, if you really want to make the biggest difference, you have to run for office and get elected. And they sort of say, well, no way, there's no way I'm doing that. And I think a lot of that is just the way people are treated now, the way people interact with each other. I mean, people in business, for example, or the professions, are not used to people yelling at each other and calling each other names and being absolutely sort of dragged down in some kind of a character assassination, kind of plot from day one. They say, why would you do that? What a waste of energy that is, and they're right.
Or reporters going through their garbage and say, I do know of situations where people are saying, I've made mistakes in my life.
Who hasn't?
And and that's how you get judgment. That's how you get experience. And I've made lots of them, especially when I was a teenager. I don't want that made public now.
My mentor, Ted Rogers, and he made business mistakes, but I mean, in his book, he said the number one thing he learned from was his failures, and he made a great success of himself, and that's true in politics too.
But if you've had a failure, a lot of people say, "Oh, we don't want
that rules you out." I mean, if it's a failure or if you've made a mistake, and I mean, the fact is, everybody's made mistakes. Some people's mistakes are better known than others, but again, if you think that's what's going to be sort of thrown in your face every time you get up in the morning, then you're going to be less inclined to go into a life like that. Simply because I think you think of defending yourself on that stuff as a waste of energy compared to the contribution that you could make if you were, able to act positively.
Okay, so we agree, and many people watching will say, yeah, you know what, really good, successful people don't want to go through that gamut, so they aren't going into office. Is that the end of good people in public office?
No, because I think a lot of what good people will do is serve on a temporary kind of a panel or some kind of a body to give advice and to help to solve thorny problems. But you need good people in the legislative bodies, and you need people to stand up and represent the different parties in election campaigns, because those are the real leaders of our country. And I think a lot of people are just not prepared to step forward. People of accomplishment, the opportunity cost is high, that's a given.
Yep.
But I think the rest of it, the other opportunity cost, which is the toll it takes on your life, the toll it takes on your family, the fact that your mistakes are going to be thrown in your face, I think a lot of people say, no, forget it, even though they want to do it. They want to do it, but they won't.
John Tory, you're right. It's a shame. 3 minutes. This show provides independent analysis of the issues. We are not paid by the government. And as I am finding, so much business in Canada relies upon various governments that they don't want to sponsor or advertise on a show which may become controversial, which talks about liberty, freedoms, sometimes criticizes government. I've had guests on that support the government. But people are saying, you know what? We don't want to bite the hand that feeds us, i.e. government, which is why I hope you'll subscribe and contribute to keep this show on the air.